CNC router bits explained, choosing the right tools for perfect woodcuts. When most people think about CNC woodworking, they usually focus on the machine itself, the size, the power, the speed, the precision, but experienced woodworkers know something extremely important. The quality of your cuts often depends more on the router bit than the CNC machine itself. You can own an expensive CNC machine, use high-quality wood, and still end up with rough edges, burning, splintering, or poor finishes if you're using the wrong bit. And honestly, this is one of the biggest mistakes beginners make in CNC woodworking. So today, we're going to explore the different types of CNC router bits for wood, how they work, and how choosing the right tool can completely transform the quality of your projects. Why CNC router bits matter so much. The router bit is the part that actually touches and cuts the material. Its shape, cutting direction, geometry, and sharpness all influence edge quality, cutting speed, chip removal, heat generation, and overall finish quality. Different bits are designed for different purposes. Some are made for smooth edges. Some are optimized for fast cutting. Others are designed for engraving, carving, or 3D sculpting. And using the wrong bit for the wrong material can create all kinds of problems. You may see tear out, chipped plywood, burnt wood, rough surfaces, or excessive tool wear. That's why understanding router bits is such an important step in becoming skilled at CNC woodworking. Upcut bits, great for fast and efficient cutting. One of the most common router bits in CNC woodworking is the upcut bit. These bits pull wood chips upward during cutting. That may sound simple, but it creates several important advantages. First, chip evacuation becomes much better. The bit clears material efficiently, which reduces heat and allows faster cutting speeds. Upcut bits are excellent for deep cuts, hardwoods, and projects where material removal speed matters. They also leave a very clean bottom edge on the material. But there's a trade-off. Because the bit pulls fibers upward, the top surface may splinter or chip slightly, especially when cutting plywood or veneered panels. Downcut bits, perfect for clean top edges. Downcut bits work in the opposite direction. Instead of pulling fibers upward, they push them downward into the material. This creates a very clean top surface. That's why downcut bits are commonly used for melamine panels, veneered plywood, cabinet parts, and decorative surfaces. If your project requires a clean visible top face, downcut bits are often a great choice. However, because the chips are pushed downward, dust removal is not as efficient. This can create more heat during cutting, especially on deeper passes. Compression bits, the industry favorite. Now let's talk about the router bit many professionals consider the ultimate solution for plywood and cabinetry, the compression bit. Compression bits combine both upcut and downcut cutting geometry. The lower part pulls fibers upward, the upper part pushes fibers downward, and the result is extremely clean edges on both sides of the material. That's why compression bits are widely used in cabinet manufacturing, furniture production, plywood processing, and CNC nesting operations. If you've ever seen perfectly clean plywood cuts with almost zero tear out, there's a good chance a compression bit was used. These bits are especially valuable for high-end furniture production where edge quality matters. V-bits, perfect for engraving and decorative work. V-bits are designed for engraving and decorative carving. Their angled shape allows them to create sharp grooves and detailed lettering. They're commonly used for signs, logos, decorative panels, and artistic CNC work. Different angles create different visual effects. A narrow V-bit produces fine details, while wider angles create bold carved lines. If you enjoy artistic woodworking or custom signage, V-bits become incredibly useful. Ball-nose bits, bringing 3D carving to life. Ball-nose bits have rounded tips and are mainly used for 3D carving. These bits allow CNC machines to create smooth curved surfaces and sculpted shapes. They're often used for 3D wall art, furniture carvings, decorative textures, and sculptural woodworking. When you see a CNC machine creating smooth organic surfaces, ball-nose bits are usually involved. The smaller the ball-nose tip, the finer the detail. But smaller bits also require slower machining times. Straight bits, simple but effective. Straight bits are one of the oldest router bit designs. They're simple, affordable, and useful for basic cutting operations. Many beginners start with straight bits because they're inexpensive and easy to find. They work well for grooves, simple cuts, and basic woodworking projects. However, compared to modern spiral bits, they generally produce rougher finishes and less efficient chip evacuation. Choosing the right bit for different materials. One of the most important parts of CNC woodworking is matching the bit to the material. Different woods behave differently during cutting. For MDF, compression bits and downcut bits often produce the cleanest edges. For plywood, Compression bits are usually the best choice because they minimize splintering on both sides. Hard woods like oak, walnut, and maple often work best with sharp carbide spiral bits that can handle dense material efficiently. And softer woods like pine may require careful feed rates to avoid tearing the grain. Carbide versus HSS router bits. Another common question is whether to choose carbide or HSS bits. HSS stands for high-speed steel. These bits are cheaper and fine for lighter work or beginner projects, but they wear out faster, especially when cutting hardwood or plywood. Carbide bits, on the other hand, are much more durable. They stay sharp longer and handle high production workloads far better. That's why most professional CNC shops rely heavily on solid carbide tooling. Yes, carbide bits cost more initially, but in many cases, they actually save money over time because they last longer and produce better results. Common router bit mistakes. A lot of CNC problems are caused by improper tooling. For example, burnt wood, chipped edges, rough finishes, excessive vibration, and broken bits often come from using the wrong bit or incorrect settings. Even a high-quality bit can perform poorly if feed rates are wrong, spindle speeds are incorrect, or the material isn't properly secured. That's why experienced CNC operators spend so much time testing and refining their cutting setups. How professionals get perfect CNC cuts. Professional CNC woodworking is all about balance. The best results come from combining the right router bit, the correct feed rate, proper spindle speed, sharp tooling, stable material, and good dust extraction. Every detail matters. Even small adjustments can dramatically improve edge quality and reduce sanding time. And honestly, this is where experience becomes incredibly valuable. The future of CNC tooling. Router bit technology continues evolving rapidly. Manufacturers are constantly developing stronger carbide materials, advanced coatings, improved cutting geometries, and longer-lasting tooling. Modern CNC woodworking is becoming faster, cleaner, and more precise every year. And as furniture manufacturing continues advancing, high-performance tooling will become even more important. Final thoughts. In CNC woodworking, router bits are far more important than many people realize. The right bit can completely transform the quality of your cuts, improve efficiency, and reduce finishing work dramatically. Upcut bits improve chip removal. Downcut bits create cleaner top edges. Compression bits deliver professional plywood cuts. And specialty bits like V-bits and ball nose bits open the door to artistic and decorative woodworking. At the end of the day, great CNC results don't come from the machine alone. They come from understanding the relationship between the machine, the material, and the cutting tool working together.